Irina Blount from La La Land Crafts. Today is day 3 of our 24 days of tutorials Advent event. On YouTube, I'm starting with 12 days with tutorials, and then our design team is going to join in this day 13 through 24. While we are running this event, we have a giveaway as well. It's 3 $50 store credits to our online store, and to enter the giveaway we ask you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel if you are not yet one of our subscribers, and please comment on all of the videos on YouTube, and then continue commenting on our blog when our design team joins in. And also we have a 20% off sale going on right now as well. It started on December 1st and it's going to continue through December 25th, and the sale is for 20% off with coupon code ADVENT2022. And for today, as you can see, we are going to be making a box. I thought we'll take a little break from the cards, from all of the different panorama cards that we created in day 1 and day 2. And by the way, as I mentioned, if you have not commented on those yet, and if you have not seen those tutorials, the link to the tutorials will be in this video description. So this is a box, and this is actually an explosion box that we are going to make. So it's embellished, the lid is embellished with the dome right here, with the cute squirrels and some dice. And then when we open it, it opens up like this. Is it fun? I can't wait to show you how I made it. Let's hop into the tutorial. So this project has quite a few layers, quite a few things we need to die cut, but putting together, you'll see it's not complicated at all. We are going to start with our Kraft Cardstock layers. And I have 4 cut at 5 1/8 by 5 1/4, and 1 cut at 7 3/4 by 7 3/4. This is the lid for the box, and this will be the sides of the box. We're going to score our larger layer, the 7 3/4 by 7 3/4, at 3/4 of an inch, and then 1 3/4. And we're going to turn it and do the same on all 4 sides. Then on our smaller layers, we're going to score 1/2 inch on each side. So 1/2 inch, and I'm going to be turning this one because of the measurement. We can't really go from side to side, so it's better to go this way. Just turn the paper. Now we can fold and burnish. On the larger piece, I'm going to fold all of this onto the inside on all of the score lines. Then we're going to cut. We're going to cut on the second score line, on the one on the inside, on the vertical ones, up to the second score line up there. So we're going to cut from here to here. Well, that probably didn't help. I didn't want to draw on my project, but you see what I'm doing. So on the way I'm holding it on the bottom right here, then I'm going to turn it 180 degrees. So now my cuts are on the top. This is important. And I'm going to cut the same way. So from the bottom here into the second score line, and the same way on the other side. So now I have this on the opposite sides. Now we're going to cut out this long triangle on the side, so just cut it out all together, and then from here we're going to cut off this small rectangle. So we're going to be left with the square, which kind of on the inside. So once again, cut out the rectangle on the outside all the way out, and then cut off this smaller rectangle here, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. And you should have this shape After all the cutting, now we're going to miter the corners. So on this flap right here, I'm going to cut just little triangles on the sides, and then on the flap, on our square flaps, I'm going to cut on each side just a little bit off into my score line right there. And I'm going to continue the same way. So on all of the straight flaps, I'm going to cut off little triangles right into the corner. And then on all of the square flaps, I'm going to cut off the sides on each side. Now, while we have this flat, I'm going to take my gold layer. They are 4 1/8 by 7/8 of an inch. And then I have 4 from the paper. And this paper is from Christmas Hodgepodge paper pack. And these are cut 4 by 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to go ahead and glue them together. Before we add this to the lid, we are going to glue another element on here. And these little strips with the stitching were die cut with the stitched ribbons die. It's actually a set of 3 dies, and this is the skinniest one from there. We're going to glue on each of these panels, right from the side of the gold to the other side. We're going to snip this off, and we're going to do the same on all of the 4 layers. Now we can add this on the sides of our box. So just center it between the score lines and glue them on. Now we're going to add score tape, and we're going to add it on the flaps that don't have this little square flaps to them, just the ones that are straight. We're going to add the tape just close to the outside. Well, actually, we're going to do this on all of the outside flaps, just like that. Now I'm going to turn, so my 2 square flaps, these 2 small flaps are on the top, and I can go ahead and close this layer, close this large flap down, and I'm going to use my bone folder to burnish it. Then I'm going to turn it and do on the other side. Make sure it's the one with the little flaps, and close this down. Now we're going to, you can kind of, what Martha calls it, dry fit it, just first try. So put the smaller flaps on the inside, and then close this in, and kind of make sure that the paper folds evenly and it closes. And I'll do the other side as well, just kind of make sure it goes together. And then we can go ahead and remove the tape, and now we're going to close it. So again, this flaps in, and make sure they're tucked in the corners, and close this, and then do the other side as well. So remove that just inside, right there inside the corners, and then you can move that, and that created our lid. It's not, of course, it's not finished yet, but this is a start of it. I'm gonna put this to the side, and we're going to work now on the sides for our box. So we have the 1/2 inch scores on all of the 4 sides of this. You can either fold it first, or you can just use the, if it's visible enough for you, use the indications from the score lines. We're going to cut and miter at the same time. So this is the corner right here. So we need to cut this corner off, but I'm also going to cut a little bit into this side, so like a little triangle where we do to miter it, and then I'm going to turn it right from the corner and do the other side. So that gives me, I don't need to do the 2 steps, otherwise we would be cutting out the square, right, like this, and then mitering. So you can do it all in one step, or do whatever works the best for you. So I'm going to do all 4 corners like this on all 4 of my layers. Now to the fun part, die cutting. I have my 4 layers that we just prepped, and then I have 4 of each of the two different designs, and they measure 4 by 4 and 1/8. So I have 4 with the snowflakes and then 4 with the polka dots. And these are also from Christmas Hodgepodge paper pack. Fair warning, I used 2 packs for this card. So you can use that, or you can also kind of mix and match the designs as you prefer. I'm going to start with my snowflake, and I'm actually going to do kind of not in pairs, but sets, rather sets of 3. So I have 1 of each, 1 snowflake, 1 polka dots, and 1 layer of my Kraft Cardstock that we scored. I'm going to start with the snowflakes. That will be our front layer, and I'm using double stitched rectangles die. This is the 3rd one down, so 1, 2, 3. This is the one we're using. This is the size, and this layer looks kind of almost like a square, but of course it is rectangle. So if you need to double check yourself, so we are die cutting, so this is 4 and 1/8. I have my rectangle laid vertically, and then I'm going to add my die horizontally, and I'm going to do my best to align it so this rectangle is the same on the sides and on the bottom. So I'm not measuring, I'm just eyeballing, but I am going to use the removable tape to hold it in place, just like this, and I'm going to run it through my die cutting machine. I'm using my crossover. Now I'm going to remove the layer that we die cut, so that now we have the window, but I'm not removing the die, so it's still being held there with the tape. I'm going to bring my other layer, my polka dots, and I'm going to position it the other way so they are mirroring each other. So line up as much as you can, and then press into the tape so it holds it together. So just gonna line it up just like this and run it through again. I'm just going to bring it back so I'm not lifting the plate, and probably helps to run through twice. Now we're going to remove this rectangle, and we're going to remove our layer. And the next, while this is still in place, I'm going to grab 1 of the Kraft Cardstock layers, and I'm going to lay it over the same way as I'm going to glue it. So I have about 1/16 of an inch all the way around between my score lines. This is, you cannot mistake to put it wrong way, because if you go like this, you'll see that it's the wrong way. So just make sure that you have about 1/8 of an inch all the way around. Center it as much as you can, and then press into the tape to hold it in place and run it through. Now we can remove the die. So I'm going to put all of this that I just die cut together as a set. So I have one for the front and one for the back. This is how they're going to go. So this will be my set one, and I'm going to go and I'm going to do again, starting with the new snowflakes, making sure it's the correct way, it's positioned vertically. I'm going to position the die horizontally, and again, line it up as much as you can so it's even on the bottom and on the sides, and run it through. And I'm going to repeat the same way on all remaining layers. Now I have my 4 sets with the layers with the openings. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Since we have die cutting machine here, we are going to do another step. I already die cut 8 of the scalloped rectangles, and they are from our scalloped rectangles die. The die comes as a set of 5. Again, we're using the 3rd one from the largest, so this size right here. And as I said, I already die cut all of this. Now we're going to make frames. We're going to use the same die as we used on the other layers to make the opening. We're going to line it up, so just a little bit of the scallops showing, pretty much just line it up in the center, and we are going to run it through. And that gives us pretty frame that we're going to put on our openings, and then the stitched rectangle that can be used for later. I'm going to go ahead and do the same on all 8 of these layers. Next, before we put our die cutting machine away, I have the piece of the cardstock, and this is 4x4. I actually have 2 of them, and this is the same paper we used on the lid for the box. I'm going to use the largest one from Stitched Slots die, so it comes as a set with the larger and the smaller one. On the long one, you'll put the gift card horizontally, and on the smaller one, you would put it vertically. So there is 2 of them. We're going to position, and this one is directional, the design that I'm using, so I'm going to have it vertically and have my die lined up somewhere in the center right there. I'm going to hold it just so it does not move and run it through my die cutting machine. And that gave us the opening that we need for our design. Now we can put the machine away and we can start on other things. Next, I have a layer of Kraft Cardstock 3.5 by 2, and we're going to score it at 1/2 inch. So I'll put it at the 2 side there at 1/2 inch, 1 inch, and 1.5. So every 1/2 inch. I'm going to make the fold in the middle is going to be my mountain fold. And then folds on each side are going to be valley folds. So we have like little W or M. And we're going to close these 2 layers on the inside, again with the score tape. Just close it in, and we have this shape now. We're going to position this shape, we're going to pull it into our opening that we created, and we're just going to glue it on the flaps on the other side. So we can put the tape onto the flaps. And again, just push it in and center it. So center it between these openings there. Then we can kind of prep this open and sit it down. And the same on the other side. So just lift this and remove the tape and put it down. So now we have the stand where we're going to attach our domes. I already die cut 2 domes from gold cardstock with the scallops, and these are from the scallops dome die, and I use the largest shape of that. It comes as a set of 3. And then I have 2 from the same paper, from the same designer paper, and I die cut this with the double stitch dome, and this is the die. This is again the largest shape of it and comes as a set of 3, and all of these shapes coordinate between these 2 sets, so you can use the scallops with all of them. First, I'm going to position my scallop layer upside down and use my stitch scallop, just kind of line it up where it's going to go. And we're going to use, you can use pen or pencil on the back and just mark where this ends. And we're going to use our scissors and cut it. And then we're going to do the same on the second layer, on the same gold layer. The easiest way might be to actually line them up and then cut this off so they are the same. Just make sure they don't move when you're cutting, because we want them to be aligned the same way, or as close as we can. Now we can go ahead and glue these layers right to the bottom, just like the way we lined them up first. Now I'm going to use 2 of these layers, and these were cut with one of the pieces from the large banner die, this layer right here, and we're going to use it as a snow bank on the bottom. And also I die cut, I didn't bring the die, but this is the 3 Christmas trees. I die cut 2 of them from white cardstock, and this is one of our older dies. I think again it's one of the very first dies that we had in our die range, but I love it so much, so it's still available in our online store. And I didn't mention, I don't think in this video yet, but all of the links, direct links to products that I'm using are in the video description. And also all of the measurements for all of the layers, so you don't really have to write it down when you are watching. So I'm going to pull it about to the top, of the scallop. On both of these layers. Snowbanks can go in front of that, so all the way to the bottom, just like this. Cute. So this can be used in front of the card too, just as a layer for the card. I have a gold cardstock 4 1/8 by 1 1/8. 4 1/8 by 4 1/8, and I'm going to glue this layer on top of that. And now I'm going to glue it on top of the lid. Okay, so now let's go ahead and glue these layers on. So they're going to be attached on this little stand that we created. So I'm just putting glue all the way here on one side and going to line up this layer all the way to the bottom. And then I'm going to put glue on the whole thing on the back here. and bring my second one and line up the scallops and sandwich this little stand piece inside of it. And look how cute it is. So it's really cute, kind of like a display that we are creating for the lid. So cute. Okay. Okay, so should we finish embellishing this? I think we're going to finish embellishing it. So it will be kind of hard to see because I'm not going to be holding the box like this all the time. I'm going to have it down, but I have two sets of the poinsettia, the same poinsettia we used yesterday in red. This time I have it die cut in white cardstock. I'm going to glue all of the layers of the poinsettia together. And then the gold pieces in the centers. So I'm going to fold petals a little bit up, just like this. You can shape them more, but I'm just gonna hold it in my hands and kind of cup it so they are up. And the next thing I have here are from the gold cardstock. I cut two of the berry branches, and these are also from one, this is also one of our newer dies. And on one of the sides, so I have my two squirrels, my two little squirrels here, and these are from Scurry Over rubber stamp set. So it comes as a set of two squirrels, 4 sentiments, and then there is a pine cone there as well. So on one side of my lid, I'm going to have my squirrel on the left side, and then my poinsettia and the branch on the opposite side. So the squirrel is on the right side, and this arrangement, the flower arrangement, on the left side. And on my other side of the box, I'm going to have my squirrel on the left side, and the flower, my flower and the berry branch coming from the right side. You can pop. I think popping this would probably work well. So we can add tape behind the squirrel. And I would say position your squirrels first before you do the flowers, so you can see the best way to fit everything. Now the lid is done, so it's cute on both sides. You can look from this box from either side. We're going to continue with the sides of our box. I'm going to grab one of the sets, and I'm going to, actually, let's go ahead and fold on all of the layers, on all of our flaps, and we're folding them inside. And we can add tape on the sides of the box right here. So add tape here on the sides, on each of the long sides. And then add the tape on the opposite side of the window. So the window is on the bottom. We're going to add the tape on the top right here. And then on the bottom layer, we are going to add the tape from the other side. Now we can glue the front one with the snowflakes on the front of the layer. Just line up your window, and because we die cut it in sets, it should work perfectly or close to perfect. Then on the back, we're going to add acetate, and I have 4 of this cut, and there are 2 3/4 by 3 3/4. I'm going to add the tape all around the window, and then set the tape on top of that. Now that we have the acetate added, we can close the sides. So the vertical sides, we can fold them in. And we can also close the top. We can go ahead and burnish this. And now we can add our polka dot layer right here, right over the window again. Should line up close to perfect. And now we're going to add the gold frame over it. So beautiful. And another gold frame on the front right here. This got pulled off with the tape, so I'm just gonna glue it down. And now the frame. And we are going to do the remaining 3 sides the same way, just like that. Phew, that was quite a lot, but it's done. All of my 4 layers, all of my 4 boxes, side boxes completed. Now we are going to attach them to the bottom. I have 1 layer of Kraft Cardstock 4 1/8 by 4 1/8, and this will go by pretty fast from here. I don't have tape on this one, so just quickly gonna add it on. So basically, all of these layers are going to be attached to the sides of this square. So we can remove partially the back end of the tape and line it up flush to the side of that square layer. And then we can pull this and attach it. So 1 is done. And we're going to continue the same way. Make sure your blue paper on the outside. So actually, I don't think there'll be any confusion because of the way our tape is attached. So I'll do 2 opposite layers first. So again, just line this up with the side of the square. Make sure it flashed to the side, and we can burnish all of them together later. So my 3rd one goes right here. Oops, should not remove the whole tape. It just gives you a little bit of the wiggle room if you do it this way. So let's do it again. So right flush to the side of the square. And pull this. And the last one. Once you have all of the layers assembled, all the prep work is done, it goes by really fast to finish this off. So pull this, and now we can burnish all of them on the inside. Then I have my 2nd layer 4 by 4 that I can glue right here on the bottom to close to make it look nice and clean for us there. Center. And then I have the Kraft Cardstock 4 by 4, and this is nothing than just to make the bottom thicker, more stable. Okay, so let's go ahead and put it right here. And now the moment of truth. Now let's see how our lid fits onto our box. So we can hold this all together. Yay! So this is such a fun box. I just love how it turned out. You can put anything on the inside. You can put baked goods, you can put a gift. It's actually quite big, as you can see. I'm holding it, so it's 4 by 4, right? Or 4 and a quarter, kind of 4 and a quarter by 4 and a quarter box, and it's pretty tall. It's the whole thing with the lid is 4 and a quarter, so it's like a cube, right? But I think it's really fun to have the presents so they can pick and see what's inside. You can, of course, wrap it in the tissue paper. My friend Martha recently made one of the boxes with the window, and she put fairy lights in there, so really cute for display. Or you can put candle, one of those battery operated candles for display. That would be really cute too. One more thing I almost forgot. I have it right here on my desk, this little bows, and these are from the Jingle Bell wreath. So we can add them, and this is of course optional, but if you want to add them onto that ribbon that we have going all the way around the lid, then it looks like it's tied with the bow. And I'm going to put it on the opposite side of where the poinsettia is. So on this side, I'm going to put it on the left side, and then on the other side of my box, I'm going to put it on this side. So I hope you like it. It was a fun project to design. It was a fun project to make. There's a lot of repetitive things, like a lot of die cutting, like 8 of the frames. But once you die cut them and once you assemble, it's all done. And then when you remove the box, when you remove the lid, it opens like this. So this is also kind of fun. So if you have loose things, like say a lot of candy, and they kind of fall out once your recipient opens the box, so instead of reaching in, it just opens for them like that. So that's a fun, neat thing. I hope you like it. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I can't wait to see what you all make and how you all go with this project. Don't forget to comment on this video and comment on the other day 1 and day 2 if you have not commented yet. And this is for the giveaway for one of the 3 gift card certificates to our online store. And also don't forget that we have a 20% off coupon code Advent 2022, and coupon code is valid until December 25th. So if you're shopping and you know you're going to be shopping more during this event, you can just put a note there for us to combine your orders, and when we combine the orders, we'll give you the store credit for the shipping difference, and we'll ship it together. So if you want us to hold all of your shopping carts, all of your orders, just leave us a note there, because I know some things go out of stock and you don't want to probably miss on them. So make sure that you shop as you go if you see something that you need, and we can ship it all together. Well, this is all for me for today. I will see you tomorrow for day 4. Much love. Bye for now.